Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Kicking It with the KTrain, where I chat with people who have helped me keep an eye on my vision. This gentleman can sometimes be a difficult man to track down. I can sometimes text him and, I can go, 3 months without hearing from him, or I can go about 3 seconds without hearing from him. But this guy also I would say has a strong. There's definitely a strong correlation between this guy and the reason, or I don't really know how to put it, but this guy was one of the first guys that nudged me toward wanting to live and train at the Olympic and Paralympic Training Center, and we have raced together, done a little bit of training together, and just had a lot of fun together. I'll just say that. And I'm happy to introduce the world to Mr. Danny Craven. Danny, my man, what's going
Hi,
on?
Kyle. Not much. Thanks for the invite, man. I got super excited. Obviously, you just mentioned it, but you sent me a message when my phone happened to be in my hand. But A, hearing from you, and B, I've been listening to your show. This is just a great thing, and I'm very excited.
Awesome, man. Awesome. Yeah, so let's just go ahead and dive straight in to your backgrounds. Like, kind of tell us Danny's story. I mean, like you've been kind of around the visually impaired guiding scene for a while, but let's go back before then. What's kind of your upbringing?
Yeah, that's a great tale. I'll try not to put everyone to sleep here, but way back in 1986, I know that's a long time for some of your listeners, but I was born in Wisconsin. Moved around quite a bit. My dad worked for a paper company, and so we moved up to northern Wisconsin, out to New Hampshire, back to Wisconsin, and then I went to Texas. That's where you and I kind of crossed paths. But
Yep.
More specifically in the athletic world, I've been running and swimming since I can remember. Got into triathlon when I was 13 and did a local YMCA race where my dad had to lie on the permission slip, because the YMCA, being the safety conscious organization that they are, and that's not a joke,
Yep.
you got to be 16 to swim. And my dad said, that's ridiculous. You've been swimming since you were 5.
Yep.
So did my first sprint distance race and kind of really went all in on it through high school and college. There was no triathlon team at the University of Wisconsin. There was a club team, but this was way before anybody was whispering about NCAA certification or anything like that.
Right.
But did a couple Ironmans before I left for Texas. Did a couple more once I lived in Texas. But and I have no problem admitting to this. One of your previous guests and I had a good convo about this, Alan.
Yep.
In my early 20s, I was pretty insufferable to be around. Some people might say I'm still insufferable, but I used to talk about dropping seconds on my mile split like that was normal conversation.
Right.
And there was a race in Austin, Texas that I did every year I lived there. It was called the CapTex Tri, the Capital of Texas Triathlon.
Yep.
In one year, that venue served as the Para-Tri National Championships.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew many people that, we all both call friends now. I didn't know any of them. It turns out all of them were there, but I had no idea who they were. And I was waiting for my wave to start. And I'm running, trying to warm up, whatever. And I look on the course, and here comes 4 tandem bicycles, hauling ass, by the way. And I have no idea what I'm seeing. Lo and behold, there was a couple standing there cheering on for clearly one of these athletes. So I struck up conversation with them. And I know you have met this family, but it turns out that was Mr. and Mrs. Adame cheering on their son, Brandon.
Yep.
And that conversation after my race, I got to meet Brandon, and that led to me racing with him in Houston later that fall. I think that was 2013. I could go back and check the records. Maybe it was 12. But
Yeah, close enough, you know.
yeah. So I went to Houston, raced with Brandon. We neither of us got hurt, which was great. Learned so much in just that first race with David giving me a lot of tips, such as no matter how fast I swim, if the person I'm racing with is not, I can't drag Brandon through the water. I definitely thought that I could do that, and it just tired me out.
Yep.
And after racing with Brandon, my name, I guess, just kind of got put in the air supply. I'm really trying to remember how I met Amy. I think Carolyn Gaynor maybe put my name in her vernacular, if you will.
Yeah.
And actually, no, I want to go back. I think after racing with Brandon, I got to go out to challenged athletes with Mark Sortino.
Yep.
And I wasn't a fill-in, but something happened where Ashley Eisenmenger, her guide, couldn't make it. I had the time available, and I said, as long as you're okay with a cross gender, and that her family was okay with it, because I think Ashley was 16 or 17. I flew to San Diego.
She would have been young back then. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I met her for the very first time, and then got involved with Amy Dixon, who you know very well, and that's where I met you.
Yep. Yeah.
Amy's camps at forgive me, I'm going to get the name wrong. I used to call it the USOC, but it's the Elite Athlete Training Center at Chula Vista, something like that.
That is correct. Yep, that's correct. Yep.
But yeah, man, I met you there. I think we met at the camp.
We did.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't get you at the airport or anything like that.
Nope. No. As I remember it, I think we had I had shot Amy a note or something, and like I was like, you know what, I gotta, if I'm gonna take this triathlon thing seriously, I should probably, go to a camp or something, and the paces that I was running and swimming and stuff, I mean, I look back, I think they're, pretty slow now, but for back then it was decently quick. And so Amy texted me or emailed me and put me in contact with you and said, this dude Danny Craven is going to be your guide. And I think we jumped on the phone and talked for like,
we did
20-30 minutes. So then
yep.
Showed up and they slapped us in a slapped us in as roommates together, and whew, the world has never been the same.
you brought your first limo out there, right? You didn't need Amy to outfit you?
Yeah, that's correct. I think what I did, what did I do? I think I shipped it to I think I shipped it to San Diego, and then after that camp, I was getting ready. We were doing Michael Thompson and I were actually doing a RAM training camp at his house after. Right. So we loaded our bikes.
You got in a Jeep with Rick and
I did
drove home, or drove to your next thing, because that was right before you went across the whole fucking country.
That is correct.
Yeah.
That is correct.
Man, that's long ago, but okay.
Yeah. But so yeah, let's go back to that. Let's go back to the, to the camp, No Sight, No Limits that
yes.
Amy hosted, and, kind of give me your recollections of that week, and just how green I was essentially.
Well, I mean, so something that I do with every person that I get the honor of racing alongside is I want to know what you know, what you don't know, what you like to do. It's not my place to tell anybody how they mount the bike or how they swim or run. So I wanted to know your patterns, if you will. We had great weather for that camp. Another Amy camp that I attended was trash. But
I heard about that one.
Yeah, you and I were hanging out, and first of all, I think we had the same kind of humor, man. We were just making stupid jokes the whole week. Was Jay Weber was at that camp too, and he's a scream.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, we did because we did bike handling on the grass. We did transition practice. Did we play garbage ball? I can't remember.
I don't think we played garbage ball. I do remember Amy being on the back of the tandem with Scott, and the two of you headbutting each other while Amy and I were desperately clinging on for life. Clinging on for life. So yeah, this is the kind of stuff you get to look forward to when Danny Craven's on the front of your bike. He's headbutting,
that was
other pilots.
That same camp was when I tried to ride your bike from the stoker seat with straps on your handlebars. So that I could steer from the back.
Yeah, that was bad plan.
Yes. Yeah. Spoiler. It didn't work.
It did not end well.
I don't know if he listens. I haven't talked to him in ages, but Joseph Mata out of Houston, he's the one who told me to try that because he says he can do it like a pro, and I wasn't about to be upstaged by him. So,
well, I haven't witnessed him do it. So
correct. But yeah, so then we did. There was that training facility has a criterion course.
Yep.
So we rode some laps there. We practiced some starts and stops and some. I think you and I first learned tandem out of the saddle as well, which I had never done.
Yes.
We did some more time with that in Colorado Springs also, but we don't need to skip to there just yet. You and I also won the slowest point to point. Amy lined us all up and said, last bike to cross the finish line wins. And you and I, we worked really well together on balance and slow pedal.
Yes.
I really, really liked that because I've done that exercise with some other athletes at different camps, and it's never gone as well as when I was with you.
You guys just got to be centered. That's all.
Be centered. Stay low. Yep.
That's all it is.
Yep. I liked the food at that camp too. That was my first experience with how good dining hall food could be when they're cooking for quote unquote elite athletes. So which at that point I definitely did not feel like an elite athlete unless you counted the amount and rate that which I could move hand to face with those shoveling food down my gullet. I have two things I'm trying to remember here. First of all, do you have any recollection? Was I supposed to be your pilot from the beginning? I feel like I have a memory that Amy juggled some things around towards the last minute and then put us together, and we called and spoke. I don't know.
I don't actually remember, because I didn't have a guide or a pilot that was going to be traveling with me there, and I was just like, you just stick me with whoever. We'll figure it out.
If you interview Amy, you should bring that up because I'm sure she could remember. She's got a memory of steel, first of all. But
something like that.
The second thing I remember also now is we got to go do a mock race at the birthplace of triathlon.
We did.
Remind me, is it Mission Beach or Mission Bay?
It was Mission Bay. It was Mission Bay. But we didn't actually. Because it had rained
no
the
swimming.
Previous 72 hours, it was a duathlon. So it was basically Fiesta Island is where we did our little mock race.
And France, Charles. Charles was on our heels the whole time. And then he had to get a different guide on the run because his cycling workhorse guide, whose name I have no idea. But you and I caught up to them on the run, and then someone tagged him out and finished the run with Charles.
That is correct. I think we snuck across the line in front
of
him.
We barely squeaked that one out, which it's training and doesn't matter. But of course, to you and I, it was do or die.
The funny thing is, so Bond, who tagged in for Charles,
Yes.
They're now married and have a kid.
Oh man, ever since I jumped off of Facebook, I miss all these things, but that's so great for them.
Yep.
I have Charles's phone number. I'll have to send him a message.
You should, man. You should.
That's great.
Yep.
Yeah, so that was San Diego. And I don't know when the whispers started or anything, but I was impressed with your abilities. I mean, from what you had shared that you weren't already doing this a whole bunch. And we went fast, man. That was the fastest experienced athlete I had ever guided, relative to their, age, abilities, whatever experience. You and I were hauling on your Cannondale. That was, and I like that. I like going fast.
Oh yeah. No, going fast is what it's about, man. It's fun.
Yeah. So then I think that leads us to, was it the same year in Colorado Springs?
It was the same year in Colorado Springs. We packed a whole lot into the year 2018 together.
Wow.
Because, I think as soon as we, left camp, No Sight, No Limits in San Diego, you told me, I think you gave me the email for Pam Fernandez, and you were like, send Pam an email. You need to go to this USABA cycling camp in May. And so I sent Pam an email. She graciously let us in. And so I immediately, but like I said, I myself and another athlete who was at, Amy's camp, Michael Thompson, he and I drove to his house in Arizona. We did a Race Across America training camp with our team, and then I went on to I dipped my toe into the World Triathlon waters, did a little race in Sarasota, and then went on, ran the Boston Marathon, did another RAM training camp, and then we got to May, and then you and I hooked up again.
Yes.
And we had a little bit of fun at the tandem cycling camp.
Yeah, so that's cycling camp, man. I think I've gotten to go there 3 times. I've been up there.
Yep.
And I remember I met your dad because he drove you down with the limo. And
for those of you that haven't picked it up, so my old tandem was this beautiful white Cannondale, and it was long, it was heavy, and one of my guides dubbed it the White Stretch Limo. So it affectionately became known as the limo for all the years that I raced on it and rode it. So it was fun. But
So I talked to Pops and got you situated. So this one is just only biking, but we did road drills, we did parking lot drills, climbed Gold Camp, played in the velodrome, played on the crit course. I love that. I that just all that every day there. Morning workout, afternoon workout, eat your feelings, go to bed. What a
pretty much. And then that was life, man. And I think it was at that camp that I think, I don't know if it was me. I think Haley was living here at the time, but she was in Yokohama. So like I didn't get to meet her, but you told me about Haley and Howie and Muhammad and all the people that were living at the training center. And I was just like, man, that'd be kind of cool to live and just train, eat, sleep, train, repeat.
Yep.
And then I just, put it out of my mind for a while until we both wound up back at the training center in August for a triathlon camp.
And that's now you were there with Zach, right?
I was actually there with Alan. So I was there with Alan for that camp because Alan and I were getting ready to do Arizona together in November, and we hadn't yet trained together. So
got it. And because I was there with John Chan, or was that?
I think you were there. I think you were with James.
James
or John? I can't remember. You were with one of them.
Yeah. Um, and didn't we meet Alan at Amy's camp? Because I remember
I know
I
you met
vividly. Go ahead.
you met Alan at Amy's camp the year before, but I met Alan through Leslie Patterson.
Yes.
Because I met Leslie at Amy's camp. She and Simon did a little talk, and then
Yes.
Leslie became my coach. She introduced me to Alan, and so that's how Alan and I met.
Yes.
But yeah,
I'm tripping down memory lane right now, man. This is great.
man. Oh, it's fun times, man. Fun times.
Yeah. So then I told you about all the people that I knew and Haley and Howie, because I had gone to Australia with Howie.
Yep.
To be his handler, and there was so much of that world, man, that I was completely unaware of in Para Worlds, and so that was just from top to bottom an outstanding experience.
Yep.
And then I come to find out that did you apply? I'm sure you've covered this, but you did what you had to do and try out or show the resume, and then they put you on the development team, right? Is that how that goes?
Not exactly. So
no.
There was an
application. Please correct me, or we can skip over it.
Yeah. Oh, no, not. I mean, I basically applied. They had they had an application that opened up pretty much right after we left that triathlon camp in August. And I think it was early September or something like that. And there was this application that USA Triathlon sent out, and it was, people that were interested in applying to live and train at the training center and train under, the USA Triathlon umbrella.
Yeah.
I applied, went through an interview process, and then I actually didn't find out until November. But they accepted me, and then I moved to the training center in January of 2019.
Yes.
So I think Derek and Amanda saw enough potential in me, especially because I went because Zach and I Zach and I hooked up and went down to Sarasota and took second at a World Cup, and then that kind of tipped the scales over, and Amanda and Derek were like, all right, he's got something. We'll take a chance on him.
yeah, man.
So, but before all that happened, so you actually went to Australia, and you went as a handler for one of our mutual good friends, Howie Sanborn. So talk to us and explain what that is exactly. Tell everyone what is a handler for Howie is in a wheelchair athlete. What does being a handler entail, and what were your duties and responsibilities?
Yeah. So first, I mean, that's such a good intro. I am involved in the race to help ensure that the athlete, in this case, Howie, my athlete, has what he needs to be successful. So there are people at every race that are designated swim exit to help those athletes out of the water appropriately. And they get Howie into his day chair. And there were so many rules I had to learn. And Gold Coast, the swim exit was on this massive incline. And once they have Howie in his day chair, I was allowed to push him until it leveled, and then I had to let him go.
Yep.
And then we get into transition. He gets himself into his bike, and then I put a strap securing over his back. I had there's probably a name for these, but these special gloves that have this tar stuff on them, so he can get to his rims. Oh no! Wait, I'm sorry. I'm jumping ahead. On his bike.
Yeah, that's for the racing chair.
Yeah, he's in his bike, and I strip him out of his wetsuit, and off he goes, and I clean up his transition area because, as I know that nothing, no litter, nothing out of the box. So off he goes on his bike, and I have to stay in the transition box. He comes back in. I have things lined up for him so that he can transfer seamlessly from bike to run. I have his hand grips situated just so he likes them. He gets in his chair. He leans really far forward, and then I put what I call the equivalent of a snowboard binding strap over his lower back. Yep. And off he goes. And then he's on the run. And at some point, I'm given permission to take his day chair to the finish line. to meet him. And so, yeah, I actually got a call not long before that race from Haley and said, "Do you have time available?" And I did.
Yep.
And she said, Howie, who I had heard the name and met him at the dining hall a couple of times when I was out there, said he needs a handler. And Howie was also battling some medical problems that he didn't. I think he's well clear of now, but
he is. Yep.
They said it was nice that I was already working as an EMT. And so I had a little bit of knowledge and background on how to just be beneficial for that as well. And really, I didn't really know what I was getting into here, but I'm just like a jack of all trades for Howie. We rented a van to get a lot of the crew around. We hung out with Aaron and I don't know who was guiding Aaron at that time, but
Ben, I think Ben was.
Yeah, Aaron and Ben and Liz and Haley and Alyssa and Howie and we did all this amazing stuff together in Australia. And I got on the fly. I learned how to drive on the opposite side of the car and the opposite side of the road.
Yep. Yep.
Which was awesome.
Quite a learning experience. Experience. And then if I remember correctly, you jumped on a flight and flew basically straight to Atlanta because you and I then hooked up and we went and did Augusta 70.3.
Yeah. I got back from Australia and the next weekend I left again. And real quick, if I can just quickly go back, I actually left. To get to Australia, I had to leave Lake Placid where I was racing a half Ironman with John.
Oh, that's
Chan.
right. That's right. I forgot about that. You were like back to back to back to back. You were crazy.
Yeah, I took the cross country from JFK to LA, picked up LA to Brisbane, got home from that awesome adventure and picked up Austin to Atlanta and met you.
Yep.
We also, that woman who we rented the Airbnb from, she was so fantastic. She took us out for sushi.
She took us out for sushi. She like kept baking us like muffins and cookies and bringing them over and like force feeding us. She's like, "You're about to swim a long way, bike a long way, and I don't even want to know how far you're going to run. And you boys are crazy. You need food." And I think I gained weight on that trip.
So I got on the plane and met you in Atlanta, and we did this is what I typically do at races. We checked in, got our stuff, picked up the limo, made sure everything was working. I think we rode it back from the bike shop you had it delivered to.
I think so. Yep.
Went down to transition, talked about some things, and made a plan, which, LOL plans.
Plans made to be broken and made to be adjusted.
If I remember, though, we had a good swim.
We did.
Had a good bike.
It was a solid swim. I think I fish hooked you though in the swim.
Yes. Because and again, I'm sure you've covered this, but as I said before, I always try to make sure I'm just kind of sliding into what you're used to. I've swam on the right of people. I've swam on the left. Whatever. You're on my left side, and I'm always just looking. I can bilateral breathe if I'm on my own, but if I've got someone with me, I'm always single side breathing so I can keep my eyes on them. And wouldn't you know it, I got your right hand, your left hand, as you were scooping all that water, went right into my mouth.
Gotta love it.
But it was a no harm, no foul. We got out of the water, got on the bike. I think we had a great bike split too.
We hammered that bike, man. That was a fun. Augusta's such a fun course. It's just that it's so tandem friendly. It's just rolling hills. I mean, I think we split like just over 230. So it was solid, man. It was a solid little bike effort. But I remember. But I think getting close to the end, I think the travel was kind of catching up to you near the end of the bike. You were begging. You were like, "Kyle, please,
dude,
I need a little bit more. Need a little bit more."
Yeah. And then lo and behold, I mean, of course, that's just what a great metaphor for guiding and just tandem riding in general.
Yeah.
Of are you even pedaling?
Yep.
But I got off the bike and got on the run, and I don't think we were even a mile in before those fateful words of "shit, something's wrong." I think you made that your blog title for the race report.
I had something along those lines.
Yeah, and because I think it was I felt so hot. My legs were screaming at me.
I mean, dude, it was hot. It was hot.
In my mind, I was going through all the emotions because I didn't want to slow you down. I was feeling guilty. I wasn't going to be able to. I didn't feel like I was going to be able to perform the way you needed me to. Whatever. But we walked for a bit, and then
yep.
How many random people did you get hooked up with?
At least two. Dude. I mean, some dude just kind of rolled by and he was like, "Yeah, I'm running 730 miles." Like, I don't know, no problem. And like, so I ran
on the fly,
just on the fly, just scooped me up. Like we ran together for quite a bit, and then you jumped back in. For a little bit because the way the Augusta course was laid out, you could kind of cut across and take over when you were feeling better, and then you would pop off, and then another random person would scoop me up, and then you and I wound up back together for the last couple of miles of the run, finished, and I still went just a hair over 5 hours, so it was solid day out there, man. Solid day.
It was good. I don't think I've ever told you this, but I actually got an email from the head ref of that race, who we met them before them, because I always just try to introduce myself to the refs. We're in the para wave. Can you tell me anything about when we're starting, whatever? And so I got an email that I was being disqualified because I didn't cross one of the timing mats. And I fired right back, and I was like, "Yeah, hi, I was racing with this gentleman. Here's what happened. Here's the explanation. I don't care that I'm DQ'd. I'm not trying to win or anything like that. And I wasn't submitting a time." And they fired right back. "Oh yeah, I remember you completely. Disregard this." So
was it oh shoot, what was Mark who was the head ref for that race?
It was Mark and his wife.
Mark and his wife.
Houston.
Yes. I can't remember their last name right
now. It'll come to me also, but Mark and Lee.
Yep. Oh, great people.
Yeah. So anyway, so then we, as you said, we crossed the finish line and whatever, and then
we went and just stuffed ourselves with sushi.
Oh my gosh, we ate our feelings in sushi with our Airbnb host, who was watching Sky also.
Yes, she did. She took care of Sky while we were gallivanting around.
So great. And then went to bed, woke up, went back to the Atlanta airport, got into the fancy club.
That was my first. Ate some breakfast, had some mimosas. You introduced me to lounge life, and I've never been the same since.
I was going to say, I think I've seen pictures of you riding on Derek's coattails for a while, but I'm sure you've got your own status now with how much
I've got my own status now, and now people are riding my coattails, and I'm happy to let them ride along. So
we love it, man.
It's awesome.
It's the finer things in life, and it
is indeed. It is indeed.
And
oh man,
so that got us to Augusta, and then since then, and again, you alluded to this, but I've been difficult to track down. I decided to leave Texas and go back to the Midwest.
Yep.
I'm currently living in St. Paul, Minnesota, but I was in central Wisconsin with my parents for a bit and went back to school to become a nurse. And I just graduated in December.
Congratulations, bro. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
We need more nurses in the world. And dude, you are, I mean, there's no one better suited for that profession than you. Like, you are you mentioned earlier, like you could, I mean, back in the day, I didn't know you back in your early 20s, but you say you were a kind of a more self-centered, selfish dude, but but since I've known you, you've always been a very giving person and looking after everybody else around you, which is awesome. And it's exactly the qualities we need in the nursing profession.
It's very humbling to have you say that, Kyle. I count myself lucky that I got to cross paths with you. I've learned so much from you, and it sounds like you're saying maybe I've taught you one or two things, but
well, you've also saved me a time or two. I think last, what was it, 2 years ago in 2021, I think you were in Spain handling for Howie again.
Yep.
And my girlfriend, Jessica Tuamala, happened to be at the same race. And
I loved that.
I hadn't been able to see her, in over a year because of the pandemic. But you happened to be able to cross paths with her, and we're able to deliver some nice Spanish chocolates and wine for
wine, prosciutto, cheese, and chocolate. No, and get this, we were, Howie and I were the only Americans there, but a lot of Team Canada, we were all waiting for our COVID test so we could get on the plane and get back to the States, because we were all on the same flight. Same with the Brazil team and another country. We were all on that same Air Madrid to Chicago, and then we rented cars.
Well, that's because everyone was going to everyone from the Americas was going to Pleasant Prairie, because we had the Americas Triathlon Continental Championships, which was going to be the last race of the qualifying window for Tokyo. That was a busy time.
And I really can't wait to listen when you talk to Howie, but that you got to go touch on his around the world adventure. I took over as handler after he raced in England and France, and I met them at Charles de Gaulle. I didn't even get to meet the off-going handler because like so often, I think they looked at this guy in the wheelchair and just said, like, I don't know what you want me to do. I'm not going to help you. I found him in the parking lot with all his stuff by himself. And so we got it sorted, and we went off to Spain, A Coruña, Spain, which was, oh my gosh, what a beautiful town. Got back to Madrid by way of the Guggenheim. Had a great time at this fancy art museum that was way over my head. Flew to Chicago and up to Pleasant Prairie and got to see you. I saw your dad again, and I met your mom, and that was a whole. I loved that adventure. I crossed my fingers that he'll call me again to do anything like that, just to hang out with you guys again.
Totally, man, totally. But oh man, I mean, you've had quite the adventure-filled life since getting into this paratriathlon world. You started, like you said, you started guiding, Brandon Adame back in 2012, 2013. And then, kind of became a go-to guy for a lot of people to, you're always willing when your schedule allows to step in. We have to touch on your most famous or infamous moment, and you know what I'm talking about, so I'll go ahead and let you tell the story.
I hate you. I'm pretty sure I'm almost positive you're alluding to my foray with Chaz Davis.
Yes, 100%.
Let's also just quick interject. I don't know how Austin got to say they were the Beer Mile World Championships, but they just decided to make it that way. And all of the pro runners, because the Beer Mile is an underground event, and the USA Track and Field can't acknowledge it because of drinking. But Austin, Texas hosted the Beer Mile World Championships, and Chaz was just coming off of Rio in the 1500. And at the moment, I think it still stands, but he set the world record for a blind marathon at CIM.
It was the so it's the fast. It was like the fastest for like debut marathon by an American, I think is
Okay,
what it was.
okay.
So,
Got it.
but yeah.
Well, so
But
he's,
yeah, no.
he's just crushing it. And
Yep.
I had interacted with him just a couple of times. And I said, Chaz, there's this race down here. I know you're probably recovering and just hanging out, whatever. Do you want to come do this beer mile? I'll fly you down. You hang out with me and my friends. And he says, I'm in. I don't even care. I'm in. And Chaz doesn't like to run tethered.
No.
And he can memorize the course, if you will. And mostly it's an oval track, but the beer mile.
I was going to say, I think I said the beer mile is just like a track, isn't it?
Well, the Beer Mile World Championships take place in a parking lot in a building downtown. And so
right.
To make it 400 meters, they had to do a bunch of double backs and hairpins and whatever.
Gotcha.
But we still didn't run tethered, and he was great. And I said to Chaz, I was like, look, man, I am ready for inclusive of drinking 6-minute mile pace. And he says, that's great. I'm just here to have fun. Let's go out there and have a good time. We're in there's 7 open division heats for the beer mile.
Yep.
And then the pros were going to race, which is always fun to watch.
Oh yeah.
And for your listeners who are unfamiliar, beer mile sounds like exactly what it is. You're going to run a mile via 4 400-meter laps. You must drink a 12-ounce beer beforehand. You may not shotgun the beer. You may not crush the beer. You may not suck on the can. You will open the beer, tip it back, and let it fall via gravity into your mouth. If at any time you puke during this race, you have to run a penalty 5th lap if you want your results to count. Most people just quit because running a 5th lap, you're not going to be setting records or winning anything, so it doesn't really matter. So Chaz and I are ready. 6-minute pace, good to go. We got the beers lined up. We're the race starts. We drink the beer, off we go. We came across the line in the first lap in 52 seconds.
Little hot.
A 6-minute mile inclusive of drinking would have been a 90-second lap, by the way.
Yes.
At which point I have already blown my load, and that was very vulgar. I apologize, but
it's okay. It's okay.
I stopped drinking the beer, and because Chaz comes in ahead of me already on the first lap, they have me not drink anymore and just run with him. He drops me in the second lap, and I start off on the third one. And there's a glorious picture, not to mention the live video coverage for this, but there's a glorious photo of Chaz winning the race with me 20 yards behind him with my arms in the air. I'll see you at the finish. And Chaz did just that. He went on to finish the race by himself. He felt safe enough knowing the course, and everything was good. Turns out Chaz ran the fastest mile of anybody in the open division. So now he's the beer mile world champion.
Yep.
We were interviewed on Flow Track TV. He was very kind about my follies. Chaz later on told me when I saw him again at another marathon, he said he got more press for the beer mile than he did for going to Rio.
That doesn't really surprise me.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I agree that, yes, that doesn't sound terribly shocking, but
no.
Later that night, and forgive me, Chaz, but I actually don't, I have no regrets here with this next story. My friends and I in Austin took him out that night. We made him carry his trophy and drink beer from his trophy the whole night.
And classic.
Every time people would come talk to us, we'd introduce him as beer mile world champion Chaz Davis.
Still carries that title to this day.
he still has it, man. And somehow Chaz, he may have been overserved, I'll never tell, but we had to go home very quickly. And
yes.
got him taken care of. He got on a plane the next day out to Boston to go see his family for the holidays, because this was in December in Texas.
Yeah.
But that video lives in infamy on YouTube, and I never hesitate to show new friends and coworkers of the time that I ran with a visually impaired athlete and slowed him down.
The photo from what people have described it as, it is just glorious. Like, it's like Chaz is wearing blind runner, across his chest. You're wearing guide, and you're literally just chasing him, trying to catch
best.
him, trying your best. And A for effort, my friend. For effort.
And it's a great memory, a great story. And another person I haven't spoken to in a long time. I'm hoping there might be an opportunity to get back out and race CIM again. I reached out to Richard Hunter recently just to see if he's still kind of involved in that organizing. So
he's not organizing it anymore, but it's still organized by USABA. So
sure,
okay. So actually, hit up I think Amanda Duke is the person to contact.
Really? Okay.
Over there right now. So she's the new high performance director at USABA. So
no kidding. That's great for her. Who took over her role as director at USOPC?
So she was with USA Triathlon, and so now it's Lindsay Jordanic is the new Amanda, and her role has kind of Amanda's role has kind of been split into like 3 different positions now. So it's a crazy times here at USA Triathlon. But
that's great though.
Fun times. But the sport keeps growing. People keep getting faster. But but man, without crazies like you to be willing to jump into a beer mile or be willing to jet set from one end of the globe to the other to race or handle. For athletes, who are blind or visually impaired, or athletes in wheelchairs, man, we don't get to enjoy and have these kinds of discussions and fun memories, man. So
it's I'm sure you and I could probably talk until we're blue in the face, but I'm very humbled that I've gotten to meet all the people I've met and do the things that I've done. There's lessons that I've carried from those races and just in my own life. And my new career and all these other things that just I think about it all the time.
Yeah. What are some of give me like 1 or 2 of your top lessons that you kind of carry from all these experiences and from these life experiences that you've had with guiding and handling?
Well, I think seems like such a generic one, but being I'll use the word flexible, or being trying to work the problem and find a solution, not ask why or how did that happen. I was always growing up, and in my earlier years, I loved to figure out whose fault something was.
Yep.
And that's not helping, man. That's not working the problem. That's not finding a solution. That's not getting past the hang up that we're experiencing. And so whether it was travel delays or Howie's broken wheelchair in Madrid, or just anything like that. I went to the equivalent of Home Depot in A Coruña, Spain, to find a tool so that Howie could get his pedal back secured to his hand cycle, because it fell off during that race, and he needed to get it sorted or figure out what we needed to do before we got back to the States. And so here I am, on Google Maps. I don't speak a lot of Spanish, Kyle, but I did my best, and we made it work.
Yep.
The other one that I think about too is, and this was a very humbling moment, but there was one time in Australia, I was telling a story about how I had met Haley, and I described it. Who was sitting next to me? I think it was Kelly. Forgive me, Elmlinger.
Yep.
Okay. I described Haley's leg as her situation, and
I can so picture Kelly's reaction to that.
She was not pleased, and the words left my mouth, and I realized that clearly I had made a faux pas. And I think Kelly said, what exactly is her situation? And that just kind of, that I think about that all the time. I get to see a lot of kids with prosthetics at the
Yep.
hospital,
Yep.
and I'm very comfortable, and I ask them questions about their legs, and
Yep.
did they get to choose their designs, or tell them, all these things. It makes them feel so excited because they usually get people who were like me, who would call it something perhaps inappropriate, or they don't know how to interact with this person.
Yeah.
And Kelly later on said that she did forgive me because I was wearing a sweatshirt that I bought a patch, a Paralympic team patch at the gift shop at the USOPC, and sewed it over the Nike symbol of the Team USA Olympic sweatshirt. So I had the Olympic logo and the Paralympic logo on one sweatshirt, and she thought that was so sweet that I did that. And she said all was forgiven for my my verbiage of Haley's situation.
You might have been the thing that tipped the scale, because at the time it was still the U.S. Olympic Committee, and then I think in 2019 it changed to the U.S. Olympic and Paralympic Committee. So
yeah, you might have been
the one to tip the scales.
My first time at the center there, I went to the gift shop. I wanted something that said para, and they had a pin and a patch, and I bought one of each. And
there you go.
And that was it, man. No, there were no shirts, no hats. I think you and I got some T-shirts when we were there together. We took a picture together.
Yeah, I think I got a coffee mug too. That was awesome.
Yeah. And yeah, man. So learning not to differentiate or call attention to or anything for something that isn't a big deal. I mean, it's not, this is my blind friend Kyle. This is my friend Kyle. And so there's been some great opportunities like that for me to become better and more comfortable. And so I think about that a lot, especially at work.
Sure.
And then, there's little things. I'm trying to think here on the fly of anything else that comes to mind, but like, I get such a thrill from helping others, just in anything. I mean, so I'm in St. Paul, Minnesota right now. It's currently snowing. Last week we got a big snowstorm up here, and I get such a thrill pushing people's cars stuck in the snow. It's so simple. Everybody, I think, has experienced it, where their front wheel drive car hits a patch of ice, and they're the only one traveling at the time, and so they can't get out. They can't push the gas and push their own car, and it's so simple for me to go to the back and just whatever it is that they need. I love it.
Awesome. Awesome.
Yeah. I was going to mention this earlier too, but from way back, Haley spent a quote winter in Austin, living at Carolyn Gaynor's apartment and training.
Yep.
And I worked the night shift. And so I think I spent more time riding bikes with Haley than I had ridden my bike in years, and taken her on some of my favorite routes through the city. Which led to I feel like one of my closest friends that I've ever known, Haley. And that ended up with me flying to Chicago and driving out to the Springs with her to move her into the training center. And just, man, some of the greatest friendships I've gotten to have, and some of the best people I've come to know, and I'm very, very thankful that I get to call them friends. It's just been such an adventure. And I'm really talking in circles here, but now that I'm done with school, I can't wait for hopefully more opportunities. Randy Strunk lives up here in the Twin Cities. I think she and I are trying to cook something up together for during the marathon weekend up here. There's a couple different shorter distance races, awesome. a 5 and 10K, and then a 10 miler. And There's something special if you do all three of those events. And I think I've got her on the hook for it. So,
ooh, fun.
Yeah.
Nice. Good stuff, man. Good stuff. Yeah, man. Well, I mean, now that now that I can get a response from you quicker than a few months, we'll need to get you, somehow need to get you swinging out this way. We need to go on a ride. You need to jump on the Chinook, man. It's a little bit nicer than the old limo.
Dude, I'll tell you just real quick. I pay it's cheaper to keep the subscription for triathlon TV than to do a one-off every time you guys are racing.
Yeah.
And so I stay up to whatever time I need to watch you and Zach and you and Andy every time you guys are racing. And first of all, you are clearly too fast for me. So if you want to go do a beer mile or something, you let me know.
But there is fun.
Yeah. And I just if whether it's a handling thing or just if anytime you guys are in the States again or whatever, I'm just gonna come out and be a fan, man.
Awesome.
I get such a thrill seeing all you guys. So
awesome stuff, bro. Awesome stuff. Yeah, man, and we definitely need to get you plugged into CIM again. So I'm gonna do my best to. I don't know if I'm gonna be running. I'll probably be running in it. Don't know if I'm doing probably not going to do the full marathon, but I'm probably going to at least dip my toe in and do at least half for the relay.
Do a relay. Okay.
Yeah. Something I like to do, to stay plugged into that community. But, but yeah, we'll get you plugged into that as well. So I know that they usually do all those guide pairings and stuff later on in the year, but good stuff, man. But Danny, my man, it has been just a blast, traveling down memory lane, getting to catch up with you. And yeah, man, just so many things that, we've learned from each other, that we've learned from this amazing community of para-triathlon, and athletes with disabilities that, we're connected with, and, it's a family, and you're part of that family. And it's just, that's why I say it's an honor to call you a brother. And, we'll maybe have to do a beer mile or something at some point, man. We gotta relive the glory days.
Yeah. I look forward to the time when I'm back in Sea Springs, man. It's one of my favorite areas.
Awesome.
I would, you know what? I'm going to put this out there. I want to climb the stairs with you.
Yeah, man. You should come do it.
Yeah, I love the incline, man. I've done that.
It's fun.
I think 4 times in my life, and we're gonna make that I'm not gonna say bucket list, but I want to check that off list. With you.
Come on, man. So. We totally got to do that.
Okay.
Awesome stuff. All right, everyone. We have come to the end of another Kicking It with the KTrain. This has been a fun one. Just kicking back with Danny Craven. And I think you guys can tell, we have some similar senses of humor. We got along right from the word go. And Danny is one of those guys that if you say, if you pick up the phone and you call him and you need something, he'll be there. Or if he can't be there, he'll figure out a way to help you from afar. So Danny is just that kind of guy. So I am so thrilled for you, bro, in that, with your new nursing career, with, living in Minnesota, and, just having an awesome life. So thanks for coming on the show, man.
Yeah. Just if we can sign off here, I want to share my favorite joke here for the audience.
Oh, absolutely.
Kyle, do you know how you can tell an Ironman finisher at a party?
Danny, how can you tell an Ironman finisher at a party?
Don't worry, they'll tell you.
That we will.
Yeah. If it's not on the shirt, it's on my hat. If it's not on my hat, it's on my car. So.
Yep, exactly.
All right, man. Great to chat with you. I hope just keep being great. Keep being you. I can't wait to see what's next for you.
Awesome. Thanks so much, bro. And everyone, I think you can tell that Danny has definitely helped me keep an eye on my vision, and I think he, through this podcast, is going to help you guys all keep an eye on yours. So till next time, keep an eye on your vision.